One thing that unifies football fans around the world is watching Man United lose. And this weekend, we had a great reason to club together and root against Man United, as we've seen Ange Postecoglou get his first Premier League win with his own special brand of football. The Australian cult hero already in the Premier League, 2 games in, has won Spurs fans over, Premier League fans over in a big way after his obvious success at Celtic and previous to that Japan and Australia and everything else. But this game was a tale of two teams. Man United 100% lost this match, and Tottenham can 100% leave this match feeling like they won the game, they earned the result themselves. In the video today, we'll be breaking down both sides of that equation, as well as, by the end of the video, what are both teams missing as we count down towards the end of the summer transfer window. At any point in the video, if you laugh, you learn, you like something, or, whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel. We're pushing for 10,000 subscribers, and we cannot do that without your support. So if you enjoy the content here, feel free to share it around in group chats and all that good stuff. Drop a comment down below, get involved in the conversation, and let's just get stuck into it. Now, there's 3 particular ways that Man United lost this game, and I'm going to knock the first easy one right out the park straight away, and they were just thoroughly unprepared. If you go and check out the preview I did, and who am I? I told you exactly how this game was going to go if Tottenham were allowed to do their thing and Ange was really going to push the team on in the kind of image that we've seen him do in his previous clubs. And we said it was just going to be a straight fist fight between Man United and Tottenham if they're going to playing out from Onana, they're going to try and do all this build-up play with Mount and transition and Fernandes and all this kind of stuff. Then, it's going to be a really interesting game to watch, which it was, but Man United had no plan B. They seemed thoroughly surprised and thoroughly unprepared by everything that Tottenham really threw their way. But on the pitch, the part of this Man United team that was clear to see that just did not turn up and did not pull its weight, again for the second game in a row for me, was Marcus Rashford. This guy does not do anything for a centre-forward. He missed 2 huge chances in this match that, Man United didn't play great at all in this match, but if they had any number of strikers in this position here, they put away at least 1 or 2 of those chances, maybe even create some more opportunities for themselves or some teammates. I do feel that Man United did get some spells where they did get some build-up. Like Sancho looked quite prolific out here on the left-hand side on a few occasions, and the route to goal was quite simple again. It was get the ball into the wide men, let them suck in some attention, create a little pocket, let them dance out of trouble, and then try and get into the final third. And Anthony was unable to do that. Destiny Udogie had him thoroughly pocketed throughout this game. It was clear to see, really, in the first half that Anthony was not going to be able to get by him very often, if ever. Sancho had a lot more joy in this effort, and you see Man United focus a wee bit more down this side of the pitch, despite Udogie going walkabouts, as it were, and really vacating a lot of space off the ball that Man United really could have penetrated into and didn't. But at so many different points, the Tottenham team, because of the way they press off the ball and on the ball, there's always gaps and opportunities to go. And if Rashford was a bit more of a predatory striker, a bit more of an actual instinctual goal scorer, I think Man United would have got a lot more chances in this game, and they would have actually scored a goal, I think, in the end. In my preview to the game, I was quite eager to see Rasmus Højlund when he does come into this team, because, like I say, for their endeavour and for how bad they were in comparison to Tottenham, they weren't a million miles away from it. And with another striker who could link up some play in these spaces here and then go further on and join the attack and actually get in where it matters, and then when they do actually bloody score, I think this game could have been totally different. The game state for the way both of these teams play is very, very important. Ange Postecoglou can do all this pressing stuff and really press the game when the game state keeps a bit more pressure on Man United, where they have to actually hurry the ball out and actually go and try and take advantage of some of the space that's being vacated. And also, you need the motivation for the players to keep up with this kind of mad mega press that goes on, that there's still something to be played for in this match. If Man United went and blew 2 or 3 goals in the first 20 minutes, like the wind could have been taken out sails, heads could go down, all sorts of different things can happen. The game state for the way that Vange and for the way Ten Hag wants to play this total football, passing out from the back and all the lovely patterns of play and play out here and find Anthony in space and do this kind of stuff. The players will run a bit harder, they'll run a bit further when they're in the game, and even if they're winning and they're getting good form and good results. But like most tactics, if it's going against you, it only takes for a few heads to go down and the whole machine falls apart. And it does feel like, again, the lack of preparation definitely did that to a few of the Man United players that were definitely subpar in this game. Mason Mount, Anthony, Rashford in particular. The third thing I've seen from Man United that really gave this game up, that really threw the towel and they lost, is they didn't show any balls. They didn't have any, testicular fortitude to push the boat out and just take advantage of any weaknesses and any opportunities that arise throughout the game as the game panned out. I'm hearing Bruno Fernandes and a few of the other players moaning again at the end of the game and all sorts of other stuff. that it's just not befitting them at all. But when you're playing out from the back with Lisandro, Varane and Onana and Casemiro, and you're doing all this kind of build-out play here, and you know and you see where the press is coming from all the players, and particularly Udogie. Like, if we look at his heat map, like where he actually touched the ball doesn't really represent much of what was going on with him. He was so influential, particularly in the second half, and even from kickoff incrementally as the game went on, he grew in stature, he grew in confidence, and he was coming in here, and I seen Casemiro and him shoulder to shoulder on a number of occasions when Tottenham were off the ball and he was coming up here. And when the ball transitions and when it turns over, and quite often it was down to Pape Sarr, maybe Yves Bissouma, in these kind of zones here, that's when Tottenham had their chances to put Man United back on the back foot and really hurt them. But as they do this, right, Man United do have the ball at certain stages of this build-up play. They're passing around, they're looking for pockets of space to play into. And if you remember the way Wolves were transitioning against Man United, that's exactly what Man United should have been doing. After about half an hour of this, they should have been, or particularly even 10 minutes in the second half, they should just be abandoning this side over here in terms of when they're on the ball and just go double up on this side here and really cause them some problems for 10 minutes and actually make them do something differently. Force your team into some advantageous positions where you can get 2-on-1 or maybe even just swap sides, cause some sort of confusion, do something, to try and take advantage of these spaces that are being vacated. Even when Bissouma gets higher up the pitch, if Udogie's sitting in here along with Pape Sarr, again, there should be an option here for someone to carry the ball up 5 yards and get more bodies into these areas, while Tottenham have to recover in transition. And Man United had no will, no idea, no sniff of doing any of this ever in the game. They just had no balls. They had no intention of going for it. Now, Tottenham were amazing in this game. A really great display of Ange Ball at the highest level, and to get a result like they did against Man United, like I said, there's a lot of great things to take out of this Tottenham game. One of the negatives, but, is maybe the performance and the reaction to the substitution, depending on what his reaction was to, of Richarlison. Now, I do feel that this was probably one of the main areas Tottenham really did lack a presence in the first game and in the second game. And, I don't really know if he's just competitive and just wants to play the 90 minutes. He feels he's still got more in the tank, because Ange is all about making subs to keep that pace going for the full 90 minutes. And one of the things that really did go in Tottenham's favour in this game was the Ange Ball philosophy, which we'll get to in a second. But Richarlison really doesn't fit into that mould. And over both games, I don't think he's done enough to really justify Ange thinking, this is the guy to take me on all season. And like I've experienced as being a Celtic fan, if Ange thinks that someone's not going to be pulling their weight or has any sniff of being, a troublemaker in the changing room, he'll just get rid and he'll just replace very sharply, very quickly. And I'd expect that to happen with Richarlison if it was like petulance or whatever. But regardless, whether it was a competitive reaction or some sort of childish kind of outburst or whatever, I do feel that the striker position for Tottenham is a great area to improve upon. That really, if you have a next level Ange Ball striker on this pitch, which might be Richarlison, it probably won't be, they could have scored so many more goals in this game. Now, the first thing to say about the Ange Ball contribution, as it were, to this result is the whole "we never stop" kind of mantra that we've seen at Celtic. Yes, there's the inverted fullback and the really busy midfield and all the other stuff that's going on, the big forward press and everything, but the whole mantra of "we never stop" and the tempo that the team trains and operates at was really obvious. As soon as it got to like 77 minutes, the Man United players died. And see, at that point in the match, if it was still 0-0, Tottenham would have still went on and won that game. No two ways about it, because with the substitutions that Ange made, bringing on guys like Manor Solomon and Højbjerg and one or two others, he was able to keep the tempo high, put Man United on the back foot, and even when you're winning the game, that is just wrestling someone right into submission or not get any chance of coming back into the game. It's like a real stranglehold manoeuvre, if you were. And some of the best football Tottenham played was really in the last 10 to 15 minutes. So great tempo, great intensity, great work ethic for the team. And with Tottenham not having European football, I think this Ange Ball is going to be very difficult for a lot of teams in the Premier League to handle every weekend, and it's going to be very interesting to watch. So I think the tactics and the philosophy was the main thing that done Tottenham here, because if you look at this starting 11 and you put this under Antonio Conte, Jose Mourinho, this one, that one, and anywhere else, do you think they're going to beat that Man United team as convincingly and with their heart on their sleeve as much as they did? I don't think so. Now, James Maddison put in an even better performance against Man United than he did last weekend against Brentford, and I thought he looked really good. He was really busy, going all over the place, a really busy playmaker, not scared to get on the ball, always willing to get on it and try and play something forward and then get in the box himself and try and keep up with the play. And he is really relishing playing in this Ange Ball high tempo style where he's got a bit of freedom to roam around and pick up different pockets of space. Yves Bissouma, Honestly, this midfield, like I say, I call it an orchestra because of the way it honestly operates. Yves Bissouma was like omnipresent. He was just kind of everywhere and anywhere whenever the ball was needed. And whenever you thought Bissouma was maybe caught a wee bit out of position, maybe trying to win the ball back from someone or whatever, Pape Sarr was just there sweeping things up, cleaning up and keeping that tempo where the ball is turning over quite a lot and really high, frantically, you know, particularly in this first hour, the first 70 minutes or so, which really limited Man United to anything they could do. Mason Mount was not able to get on the ball at all. Bruno Fernandes was really limited. And Casemiro, honestly, he was, but compared to the first match against Wolves, really nullified. Like I mentioned in the Man United side of this, Destiny Udogie was shoulder to shoulder with him quite a lot, and when Tottenham were really pushing on and they were taking control of the game, that extra Ange Ball effort of that inverted fullback, where, you know, it's the third reason as well, along with the midfield, is the defence, but I'll talk about it in a second, because Maddison having the free reign to go up here, and he was really involved in this forward line press, along with Richarlison and Son. Kulusevski maybe as much, but he's hanging out a bit wider, and Bissouma, again, he was just everywhere, and then you've just got Sarr tidying up behind him. It was great to see this in action, and it really nullified, like on paper, world-class midfield legend that is Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, proven Premier League players, as the same with the rest of the team, really. And Højbjerg did a great job when he came on, and I think it'll be really interesting to see any other midfield signings that Ange makes, because keeping that tempo up, as I mentioned with the first point, that whole we never stop element is going to become more and more important. It's going to become harder and harder to maintain as the season goes on and domestic cups do come into the equation. So it'll be really interesting to see midfield-wise who comes in to help keep this up at Tottenham, as it were. But having Romero on for 90 minutes was, of course, going to make a huge difference to the defence. I thought Vicario was fantastic as well for a goalkeeper, much better. And I felt, for a Tottenham's perspective, if you're a Tottenham fan in that game, you can rest assured a lot more with him in the sticks, I think, than Hugo Lloris personally. Van de Ven built on this debut performance fantastically. And I've mentioned Destiny Udogie countless times. His heat map doesn't do his performance justice at all, because that overload that he does there forces these guys to all just be a little bit deeper and a little bit tighter, because it's like, oh, there's actually like 5 guys up here pressing us, giving us some bother now. And like I mentioned with Man United, they just had no balls, you know, to actually go and force Tottenham to do something different and change up what they were doing. They really allowed it to happen in many respects. But I seen a great game from Pedro Porro as well in defence, and I thought that Tottenham fans hadn't really given him much of a good crack, but it feels like, you know, when they were settled out, Rashford was really a ghost in this game. He didn't do much of anything, and Martial, when he came on, wasn't much better. But when they were settled and they were controlling the halfway line, we've seen this with Celtic. You'd get Starfelt and Carter Vickers controlling the halfway line, and then the right back, Alistair Johnson, Josip Juranovic, Anthony Ralston, whoever, when the space presented itself, if somebody was maybe caught out or something and the build-up player, the attack was going, they could just go. They could just go in and attack and just really get in there and make that overload happen themselves with pace, direction, purpose, all that kind of stuff. Or, you know, support the likes of the Kulusevski, the wide winger forward type who's making these runs as well. Allow him to make that run by going on and beyond and just killing yourself on that run to allow him the space to do so. So I feel that the whole team, I call the midfield an orchestra, but I really feel that the whole team really did sing and really did purr a great tune. And yeah, Tottenham thoroughly won this game. I kind of mentioned it when I started talking about Tottenham, that the striker is definitely the number one thing that I think this team could improve on, as well as a little bit more midfield depth. The likes of Ollie, Skip and co are not going to cut it. I was really pleased to see Sarr start this game over Skip, because in the first game I just thought Skip was a bit absent. He was like a man down, didn't really do much, whereas Pape Sarr obviously scores the goal, but his presence as well on the pitch was definitely felt. And with Man United, I think it's the exact same. You know, I think Rashford is the key thing here that's let Man United down in this match and really caused them to lose. Tottenham getting a clean sheet at a variety of like checkpoints in the game. You know, the first 30 minutes, half time, 80 minutes, 85 minutes, 90 minutes. As the clean sheet runs away, the confidence just drains out this team, and as they're panicking and throwing on Palestre and throwing on Martial, they were just pissing into the wind, basically. Let me know what you thought of the game down in the comment section down below. On screen there now is some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.